and some local chapter 2 meetings. So, keeping in touch and, just discussing the different things that are going on with everyone just keeps everyone informed. And then obviously just the basics with the treasury role, payroll deductions, mail, uh, documenting, putting out the treasurer report, the chapter insurance payments. If you still have those outstanding, you got that report recently as well. So just the basics in that regard. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Christina. Mr. Mike Sawyer.
We are now officially live on YouTube, just so you know. Good morning, everyone. So we have 46 routes transporting students daily. So it's been really challenging and fun and adventurous. I dealt with my entire vehicle repair facility having to stay home for 14 days with COVID. So make sure you guys have a backup plan, because I had to call a neighboring district to let me borrow a couple mechanics, because I almost barely know a tire's round. So I'm not the one to say if a bus is safe to put on the road. So it's a learning experience for that. But as far as CASTO, daily phone calls, and I manage the phone, the 1-800 number, the email accounts, and the CASTO webpage and the membership. So all things CASTO all the time. So if you guys have any questions for me, you could always reach me at my work email at michael.sawyer@smusd.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Matt.
Good morning, everyone. I currently have no students in school here at Anaheim Union High School District. They are slated to come back January 6th, hoping that date sticks. We shall see. In the meantime, I've been attending the last 2 or 3 chapter 2 meetings, our local chapter here in Orange County, and looking forward to my busy time of the year for what's called our Miss Piggy program, which we collect money and presents for students who have aged out on school buses, as well as other individuals through our regional center of Orange County. Getting excited, as they're always in need, and we've been doing it for so many years that it's just a great thing. Other than that, if I do choose to go to lunch, it's kind of nice to be able to go around Anaheim and have nobody around. However, it's very weird because Disneyland and all the surrounding areas are closed, and it's actually kind of scary too. So other than that, that's it. Looking forward to moving on and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And Ms. Pam.
Good morning, everyone. I have been busy doing whatever it is needs to be done around my house, I guess. And CASTO-wise, I haven't been doing too much. I guess I've been slacking, but I am in charge of the election committee, and so I'll go over that when that comes up on the agenda. So other than that, I'm enjoying sleeping in. Thank you.
Nice. We're jealous. Thank you, Pam. Tony Peregrina, I've been pretty busy trying to negotiate contracts to return to in-person learning. As you probably already know, it is an absolute nightmare. We were scheduled to start November 2nd. We went from November 2nd to November 9th to November 16th, and here it is. I'm not negotiating today, so more than likely it's not going to sorry about that. It's not going to happen probably anytime soon. I'm thinking maybe after Thanksgiving. Rumors are that it can go all the way up to January. So we're ready to go. Our routes are ready to go. We're ready to bid, but we can't bid until we know exactly how our drivers are going to be able to bid, and that contract is ratified for our phase 2. And as soon as I get done with phase 2, I need to negotiate phase 3. So it is it's a nightmare. to say the least. In regards to personal life, I got a main sewage leak under my house, and I just found out that the insurance is not going to cover it. So Merry Christmas to me. I can't tell you how crappy this situation is, no pun intended. But it's pretty disgusting, and I'm done using the outhouse in the back of my house. So we're getting that fixed, and unfortunately, I'm not the only one that has plumbing problems. It looks like it's going to take 2 weeks before they can start the work, and I will be living in a hotel, which I love. Brings me back to my fun days with the Department of Education when I lived in a suitcase. So that'll be great. We're gonna get that fixed, and as long as it can get fixed, I'm good. It is what it is. We'll just keep working to pay for it. CASTO, we've had several classes. We had a couple of driver classes, a COVID-19 reopened California class. We also had a managers series class for supervisors and management to help kind of talk and discuss exactly the challenges that we're going to have coming back. For some of you, you've already started. Some of us, we're still working on starting. And once you start, of course, you know how difficult it is. Like Mike said, he doesn't know anything about maintenance, and when it comes down to it, this is all new to everybody. So there's a lot of challenges coming up, and we're excited to work as a team to make sure that we help each other and ensure that we can get back working safely. I don't know about you, but we've had two confirmed COVID cases in our department, and we'd had to deal with sending some of the employees home and quarantining and tracing and all that good stuff. The good thing is that when those employees came in, there weren't a whole lot of other employees around, so we didn't lose too many. But not only did our department get hit, food services got hit, and our district office got hit. So we haven't even started yet, and we've got all kinds of issues that we're trying to deal with this pandemic. I did have a chance. We also had a class on brake inspections. That was kind of fun. It kind of brought me back to my days when I knew what I was talking about in regards to the brake system. So I chatted a little bit and had a lot of fun with drivers. It was well received, and I still know what cut in and cut out is. So it seemed like, like I said, it was well received by drivers, and we had a lot of fun with that. Had an opportunity to go to a dinner with Dano and Anna and his staff that works at Bingo, and Dano will have an opportunity to talk about exactly what's going on. But we had a dinner with all the volunteers that have been helping Dano maintain an absolutely successful program. I think probably the most successful program in the surrounding counties when it comes down to bingo. So he'll kind of walk you through his operation and how successful it's been. So that's pretty much it. It's busy, and looking forward to getting the drivers back and getting some kids on the bus and getting rid of this 2020. We need to move on. This has been a rough year. And that's all I have. All right. So, all right. So at this point in time, we go to reports and special representatives, Department of Education, Anna Borges.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? I see some people shaking their head. I'm on my tablet, so it makes it a little bit tougher. So good. Nice to see everybody's face. So a little bit about the Department of Education, of where we're at. As we know, due to COVID and everything going on, it is made it very difficult for us to have any of our state certified instructor classes due to 6 feet, wearing masks. I mean, because we're in such close proximity for the 3 weeks that we're together and the length of time to boot. So it's not like you're there for just a little bit. So it's made it very difficult, which we've had to push back and keep canceling that class. Our state superintendent of public instruction has made it very clear that we will be shut down through December 31st. And I'm unaware or unsure because our county is one of the counties that just moved back up into the highest restrictive area. I cannot foresee us running the January class, but I cannot be guaranteed at this point. And as if you notice, the governor makes all these rules, but our superintendent a few months ago said nothing of congregating of big groups through December 31st. So we're ready to go. We've done multiple things where we can facilitate that program. I feel extremely sorry for the people that were scheduled in the class that just keep getting pushed back and pushed back. And I see that Justin Binion is on here, and Fernando was eating that apple, which looked absolutely delicious, Fernando. So we all thank you from the CASTO State Board meeting. And anyways, he's scheduled to come, and it makes it very difficult. And I wish I had a better answer for you of when we're going to do that. I'm not sure, which then is a residual rollover into evaluating delegated behind the wheel trainer applications. Same scenario. We're having the same situation go on. We are restricted from traveling in the state at all to do so. And I've been contacted by multiple people who have submitted applications and asked, can we come up if you don't fly to us, can we bring our applicant up? The answer is, well, no, because if we do it for you, we would need to do it and be capable of doing it for everybody. Then we have the same situation where I have people congregating there, and a delegate evaluation lasts anywhere from 5 to 6 hours. And then we have people in the bus, and then we're talking about contaminations. And so we're just following the instruction of our state superintendent right now. So unfortunately, we're not evaluating delegate behind the wheel trainers. And I have to be honest, I know that the need is great for state certified instructors in the state. In one day, I think I signed, I want to say 11 letters of people voluntarily surrendering their certificate. So people, retiring. This is not abnormal, but when you put COVID on it and people are pretty close to retiring, you kind of are going, what am I doing? Forget this. Why am I going to do a startup of school? Leave it to somebody else. I'm retiring. Not a problem, but I usually would sign about 10 in a year of voluntary surrendering, not in a day. So that's huge. And we're way under a valid 1,000 state certified instructors in the state of California, and that's low. We usually run anywhere from 12 to 1,300 at the peak. So we know we're going to see that influx of applications when a vaccine comes out. COVID is getting better. We're learning to live with it better and work within the parameters that are given. But I'm hoping. We all thought, I'm sure when in March this started, that we would still not be talking about it today. I knew it was going to be long. I told Dano, 2-3 months, and here we are almost a year. And I think with the second wave and the rise, we're going to see this continue on through the middle, at least, of 2021. I know I heard them talking about a vaccine today, possibly in December, but we know with the vaccine coming out, you still have to get it. You still got to wait, and there's billions of people. So we'll see how that goes. And for us, we play it day by day, and we are trying to reopen. And because of that, and we know the struggle, what we have done is we have created some new programs that we're going to be coming out with virtually. So we're going to do the administrator program virtually. So we have possible, people who want to be directors, people who are currently directors, and we're still going to then provide that. The schedule will look a little bit different because we don't expect people to sit there for 8 hours. We only expect that in person when you're with us, not necessarily when you are back and virtually conducting courses. We understand that business is still continuing on for all of you. So we'll be coming out with this information to identify if there is even a need, if people want that. So these are prospective directors, want to promote, maybe they're brand new, right? So, and we're still going to have all of our guest speakers that are going to be there. That's, California Highway Patrol. That's going to be our experts in whether transporting homeless or children with disabilities. So we've already confirmed everybody, which then brings me to, we are going to also provide a 4-day transporting students with disabilities conference. So instead of it being 2 days, we're going to do it for 4 days. And we also are going to have our experts and our guest speakers for that program as well. And so we're kind of finishing up all of the information that we need to send out, so it's clarified and everything's there. And once we do that, we'll again identify whether there is a need for, if people want that. As we can tell, we know CASBO's doing it, TSD's doing it, STN's doing it. I'm getting ready to do my NASDIPS conference online. This is kind of the new wave, or for the normal right now. And one of the other things that we thought about, and some of you have been around long enough to remember when the Department of Education, we created the 1-day training programs. Did some of you, right, where we did like pupil loading and unloading, and we did dual air brake system or documentation, how to prepare a state certified instructor or a delegate behind the wheel trainer. So we are actually going to come back out with those, but those will be for state certified instructors only, where we will provide specific education in the specific topic. Because no matter what, no matter when, whatever year it is, dual air brakes, loading and unloading, documentation, there are just certain subject matters that you can take a million classes and you always are thirsting for more knowledge, because those things change constantly, right? And or that's where we see the high failure rate in dual air is at highway patrol is there. Sometimes we all can need a refresher of, remind me how I can instruct better to educate my drivers who are there in front of me. Maybe I'm not saying it correctly. Maybe I can clarify it better. So it's always a great opportunity for an instructor to ask any possible question that they need, so that they're better, prepared to train our drivers out in the state of California. So those are 3 major things. It was discussed, and we were approached, meaning by the Department of Ed, if there was a possibility we could provide a virtual instructor course. Anybody who's an instructor and who's been through the course knows it would be close to impossible. I won't say it's impossible. There could probably be some of the classes that could be virtual. The problem is, behind the wheel, there's a no-go, right? Documentation, there's just specific things that you have to be there for. And even the classes that possibly could be taught virtually, unfortunately, if COVID persists and we keep having to push back the attendance in person, if we went out on a limb and said, well, we'll do 1 week of it virtually, but I can't get you here for another year, basically, we've done everything for nothing, because not very many people would continue to work on those things, get here, and then it's like starting all over again for us. So we're trying to think of the pros and the cons. And so we were able to come up with providing other information and programs virtually, but the state certified instructor and the evaluation of the delegate behind the wheel trainer program, nothing changes. Everything remains the same. Any questions about any part of that from anybody? Okay. The next piece that I'll briefly cover is the extension, and whether that be the extension on medicals or commercial driver's licenses, or us, because remember, that is done at a federal level. And then what happens when the feds say, we're not going to penalize anybody if their medical doesn't get renewed prior to the expiration, or if they don't renew their commercial driver's license prior to the expiration, because COVID has slowed down testing at medical offices as well as Department of Motor Vehicles in all states. Therefore, when they do that, then the governor takes that and makes an executive order specifically to our state. Therefore, all of you have been receiving that information if you are registered on our email Lyra system for the extensions that keep going. And the current one will expire on December 31st. That's the last one we got. Quite frankly, I'm probably 99.9% sure they're going to extend it again. I don't see COVID being resolved that quickly. I think that you're still going to have a backlog at DMV. I mean, if you go on to DMV right now, I mean, look at what DMV has done. Let's kind of switch gears for a minute. They allowed commercial drivers to renew online. That's a first. That's huge. Heck, just to allow a CDL driver to do anything online, because that's such a concern of who they are certifying to operate big vehicles that can go state to state to state. If you're interstate, we have to then think about, TSA and security on the ground. That's always been a big push for the security of people, because that's the largest mass transportation system is truckers all across the world. So this was a big move on DMV's part. But even with that, they are still backlogged. As all of you might know, trying to get your drivers in, it's a little bit easier because you're just taking a written test. Imagine if we actually had to test at DMV. I mean, they're months behind because you still have to take over the road if you've never had a commercial driver's license. So I applaud their efforts in trying to do so, and which then getting the executive order, then not being penalized. We, the Department of Education, have aligned. The only difference is we also included our state certified instructors and the minimum hours of instruction to be performed. All state certified instructors, when you come in, you're switching one education code for another education code. So what you're doing is coming out of 40085 of the ed code from a driver status, and you are electing to move to 40089, the instructor status. So you don't receive time, you have to give time to be valid. Now, normally, if you didn't get those hours done, and then once you didn't get the makeup done, the Department of Education would have to cancel you. We have not been doing that. We have not been, canceling any instructors if they don't get their medical done in time, or if they didn't get their commercial driver's license, or they didn't get their special certificate, because that's included as well, because we understand the process. CHP has a hard time trying to get everything done, even though they're continuing to test. They have to do it differently. They can't bring in 30 people like they did to the office, and they got to social distance, and they got to separate it out. Then it's a one-on-one in a bus. And so things have changed. Also, the climate of our state right now, things have changed where it has taken the officers away from testing for special certs for the safety of the people in the community that they help to serve. So we're all trying to work together. We don't want to penalize drivers. We don't, certainly from the Department of Education's point of view, want to penalize state certified instructors. We want to be assistive and help, hence why you can now virtually teach an original or renewal class online, which, by the way, how's that going for everybody?
Working well.
Well, Tony, if you could be in a bathroom on a soapbox speaking to yourself and it would be going well. You just love to teach.
Hey, as long as I'm listening to myself, I like it.
Sorry for the bathroom reference, especially after you having to go rent a hotel. Sorry.
Anna, that is way too soon. Way too soon.
Right, right. Well, that's good. I mean, I know that some instructors, and I've heard kind of 50-50. Some instructors are like, "Oh, yeah, it was good. It was different." And there's other instructors that are, "I did it once, I'll never do it again. I don't like it. I like in person. That's the way that it goes." You know, we're people and we don't like change. Change is difficult for us. And we've been forced this last year to have to think outside of the box and think about different things and how to achieve get more drivers and getting people evaluated and tested, and it makes it tough. So I hope that at least with that portion of it, it's assisted you, the instructors, you know, to be able to get more applicants in. You know, the hardest part is always the behind the wheel because it's individual, it's one-on-one, takes time. But if you're conducting behind the wheel, you know, just taking into consideration, you know, the safety aspect of, you know, sanitizing and mask and social distance as much. And, but all of those things remain the same for the requirements. Any questions so far from anybody?
No question, Anna, but I would like to just say that I do not like it. I did it once with just one-on-one with my operations supervisor. He needed to be renewed. So I was able to get my hours and he was able to be renewed, but don't like it.
No.
And I don't mind change, but I just don't like it.
Right.
Just my 2 cents.
You know, Matt, I get it. You know, it's almost like trying to do a 3-week instructor program. You know, it's that, for lack of a better term, the intimacy and the bond that you build with applicants, right? And that's a lot of time how we gauge an applicant. Do I want this person to come and drive a bus for me at Anaheim Union? And online, it's kind of hard to tell. Everybody looks almost normal online, I think. Well, for you know, most of us who got up and showered and tried to look presentable, all below, we all got sweats, fuzzy slippers, and
A dog in your lap.
yeah, I set her down, Mike. Dana was waving at her. That was funny.
Anna, just reading some of the comments on YouTube. Danielle Lane says it's really great virtual. Rose Lee said virtual renewal went well for us. And as far as San Marcos, we did 2 virtual or 3 virtual renewals, and it went okay. Just with our own people, we taught originals in person. Just really, we did 2 small classes.
That's good. I'm glad it went well for Danielle and Rosalie. That's great. Justin, did you have a question?
I did. I just wanted to say, you know, it's not perfect, but it has given us the opportunity to get our renewals out of the way and also to start a new class, because we had a lot of people who decided to retire with everything going on. And so I do want to say thank you to the department for that consideration, because had you guys not made that move, we would be in a lot of trouble. So although it's not perfect, I really appreciate you guys making those concessions for the time period, because otherwise we would be in a world of trouble right now. So thank you for that.
Hey, Justin, you're absolutely welcome for sure. And just an FYI, the virtual original class or renewal will stay in place even when COVID is gone. That will still exist. Maybe that will assist in the future with the shortage of drivers, being able to at least move through the process of that a little bit quicker, unlike the behind the wheel. Good. And beyond that, I mean, you know, we're still moving along at the Department of Education. Like I said, trying to create the wheels turn slow. We know schools having a difficult time, especially We have a bunch of schools. I know Matt's on here. He'll probably bring it up. They were supposed to start, I think, next week at Elk Grove, the largest school district in our area up north. And because we've moved again in sections, now if you weren't open as a school, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dano, and you end up moving up to the higher rank, right? That means the school can't open. If they were open already, then they could continue. So, I mean, it's just getting more and more difficult for all of us and trying to be so creative. And how do we get kids back to school, which I think is vital for their health, vital for their education, and vital for everybody else who's involved in it. So hopefully sooner than later. And unless anybody has any questions for me, that's really what's going on with the Department of Ed.
No questions? All right. Thank you, Anna, for all the great information. Really appreciate everything that you and your office is doing to support us out here in the trenches. We really appreciate the opportunity to go virtual and teach online. And yeah, it's different. Like you said, we're social, and we like to interact and see people's faces and mannerisms and all that good stuff. And we don't get that. We can't get that social when you're online. But again, we appreciate everything you've done, and we'll continue to do everything that we can to support our folks, just like you do. Next is
Thanks, Tony.
yes. Oh, absolutely.
I just said thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And next is Sustaining Member Representative Jason Hohelick. He is not available today. He's actually traveling, and he did not send out a report that I could use to report back to you, but I can say that a lot of the vendors right now are making available their electric bus to sit and ride and drive. If you get an opportunity and you're thinking about it, or you bought one already, but you want to see what's out there, go check it out. There's a lot of really great things happening with electric buses. The range is going to get better very, very soon, for what I'm hearing. So it is probably going to be our only option very, very soon, if you kind of see the writing on the wall. So do your homework, drive, ride, and do the best that you can to pick the best vehicle that you can that's going to support your transportation services.
Hey, Tony, this is Anna. Can I just chime in real quick about electric?
Yeah, please do.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody who is registered on our email system, that we did send out that additional supplement and the behind the wheel training in regards to rollbacks in the electric vehicle. So if you have any questions about it, always reach out to your consultant here at the Department of Ed. It makes it kind of tough. It's like I try to tell everybody, manufacturers build the vehicle. And sometimes when it doesn't work on our narrative, our job isn't to say, hey, go build a new vehicle that does. Our job is to make sure that we're incorporating appropriate safety steps in the training as best that we can. We certainly can't go back to all the manufacturers and say, hey, by the way, you need to redesign that, which will cost you billions of dollars. I don't think they'll listen to us anyways. So we are just trying to supplement that to be the safest that we can. And we hope that everybody got that. So thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Anna. All right, next contractor representative, Aaron Borta.
Hi, everybody. Sounds like everyone is doing as well as can be expected right now. I and my company, I suppose we're doing the same. We're only running about 9 routes right now. 4 of those 9 routes have 1 child on them, which seems insane to me to run a bus, but I guess schools got to do what they got to do to get kids in. So, certainly been a bit of a struggle. I will also tag team a little bit on the electric bus stuff. I do, we have researched the electric bus. A lot of my schools are pretty, excited about that and think it's a great idea. And it certainly is a great idea. However, I would very much recommend that if any of you consider an electric bus, you do two things. First of all, drive an electric bus and put weight on the bus and on routes that your community would be running to see about the battery charge, or about hills and what that does to the battery charge. Sometimes on the hills, the electric bus actually, if you're up a steep hill, and the bus is fully weighted down with the students that you have on board, the bus will actually stop if it's too much weight and you're going up a hill. So I caution you about that. And second of all, I also would caution you to research and talk to your utility companies, because there are some areas in which getting proper electric onto your location the infrastructure just isn't there yet. It's sort of like they've put the cart before the horse. They're sort of promoting this vehicle, but the utility companies aren't in the same place as far as providing enough electricity. So just a caution that I've sort of learned. I just want to throw that out because I know a lot of public school bids are now sort of, pushing, well, and even Newsom, by this date we have to have electric, but we're really, there's a lot that needs to be done before we can get to that. The second thing I wanted to talk about today is, and I've spoken to a couple of my counterparts at First Student and some of the other larger companies that a lot of you probably use in addition to your own vehicles. There is a lot of talk about changing, and I myself am considering this as well, about changing contracts to address instances like a pandemic or things that we never considered before. A lot of that language is in the works, and obviously a lot of, like, my legal team is working on that, like what contracts are going to look like, new contracts that we sign, sort of accounting for school closures, whether it's a pandemic or it's a fire. I know personally from my standpoint, there have been a lot of uncomfortable and not fun conversations with my clients about getting partial payments, accounting for, how do I pay for all this PPE that I've got to have now, and all these new measures that, we never accounted for. And, I think a lot of the problem is that, I have fixed costs that, I go out and commit to, whether it's a private school or a school district, I commit, okay, you guys have this number of buses, which is almost like you're renting commercial space. Like you're taking that space and you're saying, I've committed this to this district or this school. Unfortunately, a lot of schools and a lot of districts have sort of said, which I understand, I don't fault anyone for it, have said, well, you're not providing the service, so therefore we're not paying for it. But that doesn't take away our rents, our bus payments, or all the maintenance, as we all have to do to be in compliance with CHP, all the training that needs to happen for our drivers, even though nothing's running. So a lot of the contractors are looking at the language of our contracts to account for that going forward. So I would expect, or you all can expect, that going forward contracts are going to look differently. And there is going to be provisions for paying for service, even if we're not allowed to have students on campus. Now, it sounds like a lot of the contractors are not saying that school districts or schools would have to pay 100% of the costs. It's, sounds like it's going to be a negotiated amount that would be presented for the district or the school to pay. And also there's also some language that a lot of us are floating around about if there are unexpected costs, like in this instance, PPE or added training that we need to do based on a particular event that the district or the school, we would in good faith negotiate payments to cover those unexpected costs that we haven't put into our contract pricing. You know, that is something that I wanted to just sort of put out there for you all to expect. I'm sure it's not a surprise that the contractors would do that, but just be aware that bids coming up, that is going to be a part of the new contract for us. Trying to think, I don't know about much else. You know, I know that there are contractors in our state, some smaller ones that have gone out of business. My relationships with sort of the bigger contractors sounds like, you know, they're all hanging on. A lot of the big, you know, big three contractors, First Student, Durham, and STA. Most of the rest of the country is actually running school buses as normal, and school is in you know, relatively normally. So it's really the state of California and a couple other states that are not running as normal. So you know, of course that affects the big contractors, but they seem to be doing okay. It's more the regional operations like mine, you know, would be more affected by this. But at the moment, it sounds like everyone is hanging on and doing the best they can in consideration of what's going on. And I think that's it for me, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions for Aaron? And we completely, and I'm sure I'm not the only one to say that we completely understand the need for that type of language when it comes down to contracts and everything that you do to support school districts and private schools. It's tough. This is unprecedented. We've never had something like this happen before, but know that you know, we're all, you know, CASTO's here to support you as well as the public sector, and we'll get through it together, and hopefully we don't ever have to do this again. So thank you for the information.
Sure.
All right, and next we have CASBO representative, Mr. Matt Sanchez.
Well, good afternoon, it looks like now. Good to see everybody. A lot of interesting, good information. Tony, back to what you were talking about with your house. Sorry you're going through that. I've got like 3 or 4 different employees going through that right now, like different pipes breaking. They're having to live out of a hotel, remodeling taking place. So I've been hearing firsthand from some of my staff what a nightmare that is. It sounds like that outhouse that you're having to deal with is a little bit better than that old Crown that you used to have to use as a bathroom. But anyway, I think we all know that story. We probably all heard it. It's good hearing a lot of you talk and relating with you, Michael. Just about the tire being round is about what you knew. I feel like that's about all I knew when I had to sit in my first class at the department to learn about vehicle components, and then Anna made me teach it. So that was fun.
That was John Green. Don't blame me, Matt Sanchez.
No, no, but you were the one teaching it, and actually that was interesting to have me take over that class and teach it. It ended up being fun, but very, very challenging to learn new things.
Yeah.
And have those expectations we all feel as instructors that we're supposed to know all, and we don't. We know that, and I think when we're humble that we connect better with people and that way, and connecting with our people is what we're having a hard time doing right now. We've ran 2 original classes online now and 1 renewal, and they're going exactly the way everybody is saying here. I mean, it's going all right, and we're progressing. We're able to keep our pool of people going in our program, which is the intent of what I believe the department was doing for us with this decision, that we can keep the pool of people coming so that we can still try and trickle people in to become school bus drivers. Because without the adapting as CDE did, we would be dead in the water right now. There'd just be no way. We still are in a place, most of us, where we have no idea how many of our staff members are coming back. I mean, unless you're already running some routes right now. So, out of our 150 drivers, I don't know. I may only have 135, 140. So the online training has been helpful, but it's just like, I'm sure, Anna, Dano, what you guys are dealing with thinking about doing an online instructor course. A majority of that course is about the experience and not about what you obtain and the connections you get through it, and the whole experience of having a group network can't be replaced by virtual. And I think we all feel the same way with an original classroom format. We're just kind of on survival mode to do what we have to do to get more staff in. And because when those training candidates come into our classroom, I mean, it's just that connection. You can tell right away sometimes whether somebody's got yellow blood or not potential. And it's harder to do that online, as you don't know whether they're staring at you or they're staring at, Tetris. So interesting things. Have been working on, we've been working on procedures for months and months for going back, but nothing can be finalized until we all have an agreement with our unions with how we're going to do this. And so we still have not come to an agreement with our ATU union at Elk Grove with our procedures. So we're close, but I can't finalize my procedures that I give to our parents until I have an agreement with our union. So that's kind of a problem. And an ongoing problem has been the argument about social distancing and how many students we're able to put on a bus at one time. And that's been one of our main discussions. And we're trying to word the contract relative to the opinion of the Sacramento County Health Department. So as we float from red tier to orange tier, or red tier now to purple, that's frustrating. We were all geared up to go back November 17th, pending we were heading towards orange, and we did not go orange. We maintained red, and now it looks like we're gravitating towards purple, which means we're already looking at, January startup at the earliest. So, and I hate even saying that, the earliest, because we all know that's a potential depending on how this goes the next few months. So we've been trying to, now that we're real close to finalizing our union agreements, we're in the midst of creating some training videos for our drivers as far as how to sanitize and clean the bus. I mean, these are the touch points that you do in between runs or in between routes. This is the deep cleaning that you do at the end of your day, and the products that we're using and how to use them. So we're almost finished putting that video together, and we have another video with different employees, children that came together, and we're doing a hypothetical what it's going to look like when they come back. From loading at the school site and transitioning them on the bus, and how that's going to look like on the bus. So we're in the midst of finalizing that. As soon as we get an agreement with the union and dot those I's and cross those T's, we'll be able to finish all of that. As far as CASBO is concerned, kind of haven't been doing a whole lot relative to CASBO. I've been pretty inundated with Elk Grove, trying to schedule some either monthly or bi-monthly meetings for our CASBO people. We used to meet once a year, but I'm trying to do more often, but maybe since people don't have to travel and make a whole day of it, trying to do like an hour or two meeting every month or every other month, but I've been having a really hard time getting people's schedules to be able to coordinate. So I'm looking forward to getting that together in December. But everything's still in the air with what we're going to do in the spring with conferences. So could be virtual, probably be virtual. Other things that are going on with Elk Grove. Mike, thank you again for the input about your mechanics. We have two different shifts, but I think if I can clearly separate those shifts like cohorts, wonderful new word of 2020, I can try and avoid that problem. So thanks for the heads up on that. The classrooms, I think I already said, they're going pretty good. We've had 2 full classrooms, and I totally get where you're coming from, Anna, with the inability to congregate. We're in the same boat. We're not able to congregate to bring classes together. That's why online is working. We have to make exceptions with bringing people together to take a CHP examination, because there's no way to do that online. So we're working with that. The other thing we're working with right now is the electric bus. I'm slowly becoming more of a proponent of electric, which I had been very skeptical since when I came to Elk Grove. We had 8 buses that had a range of 65 miles that were, we put 65 miles in one morning. So it was, we'd completely deplete the battery by the time the AM route was done. So now that these buses are coming out, Aaron, like you're talking about, with better range, we're hopeful. So we're starting with trying to set up Elk Grove for the future with infrastructure. So we've got a grant that we're going to be putting about 500,000 or 600,000 worth of infrastructure in, so that we're set and prepared for the future for electric buses as we evolve. And we do work with SMUD to be able to come in and they've done consultations with us to be able to assess what we have and what we will need to be able to be successful with the flow of electricity. So we've got SMUD involved in that. I certainly am not, and probably will never be, an electric bus expert, but I think that the 8 buses that we had, though, that we were running as many of them as we could that had the 65-mile range last year. The power and grade ability was pretty good on them. I felt like it was, even with the full load, it was pretty good. So I think that I'm not as fearful with that, especially the newer electric buses I've been driving. It seems like they've got a pretty good punch to them. But I think that's all I've really got right now. Dano, I know that I keep hearing wonderful things about bingo. Our supervisor, Stephanie Spivey, goes to your bingo sessions all the time. And she's always talking it up very much. So she loves that experience. And it sounds like you continue to try and make special touches with everything you do there. So thank you for that. I get good feedback on that. No wonder you guys are doing so good with that. That's all I've got. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and address anything you might have.
Thank you, Matt. I do have one question, and that is CASTO leaning towards virtual conference, or what are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm not certain at this time, Tony. I have not been very connected. I have a couple meetings coming up, so I can't tell you which way they're really leaning right now. I think that with the uptick of everything that we're seeing going on throughout the United States and through even in our counties here, I just can't see how we can be heading towards purple and then hit back down to red and orange even in the next month or two. And we're right there running up against springtime. It's just, I think it'd be close to a miracle to be able to run a full conference in the spring. So I think we're probably really going to be heading towards virtual, but obviously we would all love to get back to normal, and we'll see how it goes. I think the next 2 months are just critical. I mean, how is it that we're going to be able to come out of December and go into January and hopefully get some momentum to start going down in tiers and to start, it's encouraging to hear some of you are transporting students again. That's really good because you're kind of paving the way for the rest of us with working through issues as you're going through them. And you know, I don't know if you're doing one student every other seat, or are you doing students at every seat? I know I was talking to some districts up here in Northern California that are transporting students, and they put things out in their procedures to their parents that they may put one student at every bench of the bus. And if they're family members, maybe 2 at one bench. But there's a lot of guidelines out there still that state every other bench, trying to maintain the up to 6 feet as much as possible. So I'd love to hear from some of you that are transporting, but it sounds like you're transporting so few kids, it really doesn't matter. You're just kind of spreading them out and going. But I think that Placerville and El Dorado are both transporting quite a few students on their buses, and they are doing one student every bench.
Matt,
Anyway.
we're in Visalia, and we haven't got out of purple, but we're transporting one every other seat right at the moment. But our health department is considering a proposal that we wrote to allow one per seat, of course, with masks and all the other criteria that we've got to meet. And we're supposed to hear back from them, I'm hoping this afternoon. But we've been transporting for about 5 weeks now, and we're transporting about 100 special needs students, and then about another 150 or 60 for cohort small groups. So we haven't had any issues yet. And like I said, we've not been out of purple.
Wow. Yeah. Well, our health department's not advising transporting students if we're in the purple. So we're in a different state. You know, I was also thinking of, as I was talking to Aaron, and this is about the ed code with either transportation safety plan or safety and evacuation, one of those ed codes. If we're contracting out trips and that contractor's looking at our safety plan, it just seems like every district I'm talking to, everybody is so different with the specifics that they want to do relative to procedures with COVID. I mean, if you're a contractor and you're doing a trip, now are you having to be able to know that specific district's procedures for how they want to load and unload and social distance those students for that district? Or is it going to be that you meet the guidelines type of thing? I don't know. I just thought of it during this meeting as Aaron was talking and just throwing it out there, but I was just picturing how different, just talking to different directors of how their agreements with their unions are different with the expectations of both the cleanliness and the social distancing on the buses. So anyway, food for thought. That's all I got, Tony.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's challenging all the way around. And when it comes down to contractors, the expectations got to be the same. Our biggest problem with our contracts, especially with teachers, is safety. So if you're going to have a specific safety protocol that's been negotiated in the classroom, you might be bringing, a bus full of kids that don't meet that structure or that protocol. And now, the teachers might have a problem. So our classified and our certificated contracts have to look very, very similar. So if I'm contracting as a transportation department, I'm expecting what I expect from my driver. So whatever we've agreed upon, that contractor has to follow those specific protocols. Now, that might cost money, though. I mean, because it's like Aaron said, you're going to need, if you're going to social distance, then you're going to need more than one bus. You might need 5 buses for whatever group you're transporting. But ultimately, that's something that when we negotiate our contract with our folks, we understand it's going to be expensive, and it is what it is. So if you can get your classified to agree on bringing 2 kids per seat, you make sure that you're talking to your certificated union so that they know, hey, this is what's being agreed upon, because it can become a problem in the future if they find out, and I'm sure they're going to find out. All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it. And we'll be in contact when you get to those specific meetings in regards to how conference is going to go for CASTO. I really want to have a chat with you and kind of brainstorm on what you guys are thinking, because we're right around the corner from you guys, and we want to make sure that we're providing the support, but also ensuring that we're not putting ourselves in a situation where fiscally we might not be able to handle that event. So again, thank you.
You're welcome, Tony, and it's good seeing everybody, and I think I'm gonna hit the road. My wife's been patient. We are in Mendocino right now, celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary. Wow. And so we're gonna go get some lunch, and good to see everybody, and I'll talk to you all later.
Happy anniversary,
Happy
Matt.
anniversary. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, Section E, Standing Committee Reports, Legislation. Nico Chavez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. So I wanted to give a update today on the elections that just happened. I know that's something pertinent. And so first I'm going to go through the legislature, and then I'll cover the property taxes, which then I'll transition over to kind of what that means in terms of funding, which is this time very significant given the increased expenses. So first on the legislature, of the 40 seats in the Senate, the Democrats were looking to try and pick up an additional 3 seats to get to 31. It's looking more likely they're only going to get to 30 Senate Democrats. The seats that folks were watching pretty heavily were Senate District 21, the race between Scott Wilk and Kip Mueller. Initially, Kip Mueller was ahead in that race, but with ballots continuing to be counted and then coming in, California being a postmark election state, so any ballot postmarked on election day or returned to a polling location prior to closing, they are counted, and so those have all been counted, and the state has until December 11th to finalize all elections. So we got some time left for this to be finalized, but it's looking like Scott Wilk's going to win that race in Senate District 21, then Senate District 23. Abigail Medina was ahead of the Republican candidate Ochoa Bo, but it looks like that Republican candidate is going to win that seat. But then going back, so in Orange County, the race between Josh Newman and the incumbent Ling Chang. So Josh Newman was recalled for his vote on the gas tax last election cycle, and he's returned, and now it's looking like he is going to win that race and pick up a seat for the Democrats. And then in addition to that, on Senate District 37, it looks like Dave Min, the Democrat, is going to be replacing John Morlock, the incumbent, in that seat. And then there is one vacant seat, but it is a safe Democrat seat. Senator Holly Mitchell, who was the budget chair last year. She has won her race for LA County Supervisor, so there will be a special election for that in January. Then in the Assembly, there is a total of 80 seats. So it looks like the Democrats are going to actually lose one seat. So we're looking at a total of 60 Democrats opposed to 61. And so the reason these seats are important is when it comes to funding next year, a lot of that requires a majority vote. And then if there are any additional measures taken for taxes or any other revenue generating, it will require a supermajority. And so having 30 seats in the Senate puts us 3 over 27 for some of those measures, supermajority. And then also in the Assembly, having 60 puts us well over the 54 requirement for a supermajority vote in the Assembly. So with that, I'm going to go into some of the measures. So one of the big measures that the state was looking at for generating more revenue for school districts was Proposition 15. That one has failed, or it's looking to fail. Nothing's finalized, but it's not looking good for that one. And then also one other one I just wanted to highlight for CASTO and for us, given we're still looking at a legislation to provide some resemblance of unity or uniformity between the requirements of transportation providers to students, whether it be app-based or school bus drivers. So Proposition 22 did pass, so it's yet to be seen, but there could be some ramifications as we continue to move that bill through the legislature, given its relation to app-based driving, and that's the form of transportation that being used to transport students in some districts. So just come to the flag. So given the lack of funding generated from Proposition 15 and the continued lack of funding at the federal level for the second round of relief, it's not looking good. We're still on deferrals. There's going to be a state deficit. So we're just looking at less funding for school districts throughout the state. There's a lot still to be determined at the federal level when it comes to the Senate and the House. If Georgia doesn't pick up Senate seats after their runoff elections, it's unclear how long that term lock or that stalemate is going to last at the federal level in terms of delivering that funding to California that was spoken on during the Budget Act that was passed in California. With the trigger cuts or the trigger deferrals that happened, it's still just waiting for that funding to come in. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens at the federal level and what happens with the Senate, and see when that funding comes in. I wanted to stop there and just see if anyone has any questions regarding the elections and revenues. Great. Sounds like no questions. So also, given the elections just happened, CASTO we're looking at legislation for next year. We're also working on the app-based driving uniformity on requirements for those drivers. But really interested to hear from chapters and members on different needs and how CASTO and I can help with supporting you in this next election or this next legislative session. So look forward to hearing more about that. And just want to thank everyone for your time.
Thanks, Nico.
Thanks, Nico. We don't know where Tony went.
Maybe a plumbing issue. Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm here. It just for whatever reason it wouldn't unmute. All right, well, thank you so much, Nico, for the information, and sorry to hear that that prop is not going to pass, and we might not be getting some very needed funding. But hey, there's always tomorrow.
That's
All
right.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. At this point in time, our next report is Doug Smith, Rodeo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well in this crazy time that we have. I have been in contact with all of the rodeo staff that we have out there, the coordinators, and everybody but one has contacted me back and said they're all ready and raring to go if and when we get this back in order. Not sure if we are. I've had a couple of minutes of spare time, and I've taken the state trailer and started looking at it and took the stuff out of it and started making it cleaner and neater and ready to go for, again, if and when we get this together. It should be, I've got a couple of things that I'm going to need to talk to Tony about. We need to do a little bit of repair on the walls. The bars that are up there for Offset Alley have torn the wall out. So I'll get with Tony and see what we need to do on that. But for the most part, we will be ready for rodeo if and when it begins and comes back into the end of the game. And that's pretty much all I have for rodeo.
Great. Thank you, Doug. Nice to hear, and that everybody's coming back. We're going to cross our fingers that we can put on those events this rodeo season, and we'll know a lot more come January. Nico, are you still there? Nico?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that. I was fumbling around trying to come off mute.
Yeah, so we have a question from YouTube, and the question is, what about Prop 19 that was supposed to generate revenue?
Prop 19 is looking like it's going to pass.
Excellent. So do you know exactly how that would generate revenue for us?
Yeah, Prop 19, one moment, I'm just pulling up my notes on Prop 19.
Isn't Prop 19 the one where if you inherit like a house, let's say your parents pass on and now you have to reassess the land and pay more taxes instead of the taxes they were paying? Isn't that Prop 19?
Yeah, that is Prop 19. I'm pretty sure that one. So that one, it's not going to generate as much revenue. Close to how much Prop 15, and Prop 15 was directly towards was for specifically for schools. And then also, so Prop 19 is going to go to public schools, that increase in revenue, but it's also for state and local governments, and also for firefighting agencies too. So that one's a little bit more of a complicated formula than Prop 15 was. So we are going to get a little bit more funding there, but but Prop 15 would have been a little bit more significant in its change to the property taxes, where it would have had a different reassessment on commercial properties, where this one targets just the change for inherited properties. And so that reassessment of commercial properties would have generated a real significant increase in funding for the state and schools. So it is really good news that Prop 19 has passed. So we're going to get a little bit more, but compared to the increased expenses of the state, it's going to be a tough couple of years.
So it's kind of like the lottery, where we thought we were going to make a whole lot, and then everybody else is getting a piece of that pie.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll send out the formula on Prop 19, just so folks can see how that money is going to be distributed, and I'll get that out so that it can be sent out to membership.
Great, excellent. Perfect. Yeah, and if you can send us like a little blurb, and maybe we can post that on the website so that our membership can have access to what passed, what didn't, and how it might affect our industry.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for answering that question, Nico, and thank you, Doug. Reopen California, Nanette.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Great to see all of you. And just watching some snow fall up here in the Sierras. So our second snowstorm so far. And I just wanted to share, we've been open with the hybrid model for 3 weeks. And we have scheduled our bus routes so that we have 21 students per route on our 84 passenger buses. Some are less, and we are now transporting for the 3rd week with this hybrid model about 1,400 students up here at Tahoe Truckee. So we have learned a lot in the last 3 weeks, and this guidebook to Reopening California was actually pretty helpful. We have had about 9 positive cases in our district, which then leads us to quarantine. So because we have an A cohort and a B cohort, our routes are designed with rosters so that each driver has 6 tiers, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. They have the same students for all 3 tiers, AM and PM. So they all do an elementary, a high school, and a middle school. We don't mix cohorts. And we have learned that if a classroom has to quarantine, which that happened to us Tuesday after our A cohort, if a student tests positive, then that classroom quarantines and that bus route quarantines. So we're learning as we go. We're trying to figure out how to operate under this pandemic and all of the restrictions that come with it. So we too are currently in orange, have moved into the red in Placer County. And it sounds like as of this morning, we will be moving back into the purple next week in Placer County. We operate in 3 counties, Placer, Nevada, and El Dorado. So we encompass 720 square miles. And half is in Nevada, half is in Placer. But we operate under the Placer County Office of Ed. So our public health officer helps to guide us. We work closely. I have a nurse assigned to my department who helps with contact tracing, who gives us guidance on, how that quarantine piece looks. So it's become really clear that as we open, even though we opened 3 weeks ago, and we're very strict with our protocols. Our classrooms are 10 or less. Our bus routes are 21 or less. And we still have, I believe, 11 cases today, not formally, but so I think that we will continue to stay open, but operate with that quarantine piece in place. And so we've got 3 schools that have a couple of their classrooms quarantined, or they are a cohort, like cohort A will quarantine or B. And because we have our low-end substitutes for teachers and bus drivers, we might quarantine both cohorts just because we don't have enough subs. And just to, be as safe as possible, we want to be sure that we are following those protocols. So I just thought I'd share that because this is all new stuff for us. And we didn't cover a lot of this in the guidebook to reopening that we worked on with our reopen committee. So it would appear that there will be some protocols that we can look at that are recommended by CDC, California Department of Public Health, and the local public health officers that might be of help going forward, because we did anticipate we might have to quarantine, and then it does look like on certain days that I send a call out in the morning at 6 that says to a specific school site that, hey, there would not be transportation today for these neighborhoods. So we haven't had to go that far, but that probably is something we might experience through the winter as we continue to try to stay open. I know in Chapter 6, there's several districts that have opened. Rockland opened this week. I know the larger districts are not, Sac City, Matt's district, Elk Grove, but the smaller districts seem like we have less cases, of course, so we have opportunity. So with that being said, if anybody has any quick questions, I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I just thought I'd share out our experiences and what we're doing to mitigate just these ongoing challenges of COVID-19. So with Reopen California, we had a successful webinar in October, early October, I think it was the 9th, where 4 of us presented, 5 of us actually that are on the committee. We still have a standing committee. We only have 11 that attend every Friday. We started with 15. We, a little over in 3 months, we put together this reopening guide that we've received a lot of positive feedback. Right now, we currently do not have another project that we've decided on or committed to. However, we would like to continue providing some level of experience, education around this pandemic and operating in it, or even other areas such as what Tony presented with the breakboard workshop. Actually, it wasn't the breakboard, but the air brake workshop. So Tony, is there anything else about Reopening California that I'm not sharing that you'd like us to share out?
Well, it's free. It's available on our website, and we will continue as a committee to keep it a live document. As things change, I think with the new administration coming up, there might be some different things that might happen. Again, if there are more guidelines that are added or taken away, we will continue to work on this document and keep it updated as we go. So every Friday, like you said, we meet, and when we can, and if there are changes, we will make the change and then inform our membership. But thank you so much, Lynette, for everything that you've done, the committee, Tony Lovezzo. It was amazing and instrumental in creating this guide as well. So really appreciate your time, your effort, and your support for CASTO.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, everyone. Reach out to us as a committee if there's anything you'd like to see us cover in a webinar, and we will certainly consider that.
Thank you, Nanette. Next, we have fundraiser bingo, Daniel Rybar.
Good afternoon, everybody. I now know what it's like to be a kid at home trying to learn. This 2 hours sitting here is difficult. All right, here we go. I'm going to make it short. We still have a lease to pay. You know, we offer CASTO Bingo in Sacramento, California. We moved from the Sacramento Bingo Center to a lot larger facility in Citrus Heights. We offered 1 day a week. When the pandemic closed us in March, we were only open for 16 days in June before we closed again. But that does not mean we're not responsible for a lease payment, because each charity leases the hall. So CASTO had to come up with an idea. We made this money, now we're losing the money because we're paying rent and bringing in no income. So along with myself and our volunteers, we chose to do parking lot bingo, which the players will come in their car, they play in the parking lot. You have a bingo, you sound your horn. So we do it Friday nights and Sunday matinees. We're the only charity that started it here. The other charities were like standing back, just looking, thinking, how is it going to work? I'm here to tell you, we made more money in the last 2.5 months than we did for an entire year of indoor bingo, because people needed to do something. And when they heard they could stay in their quarantine parking stall or stay in their car and play bingo, we sold those flashboards. We played games that paid $2,000, $1,000. It just kept on growing and growing in the month of August and September. Today's Friday, today's bingo. I have to close today because it's raining outside. Nanette says it's snowing. I'm not shocked it's not snowing right now because it's so cold here in Sacramento, but it's closed today. But these people came out, and going to what Tony's opening was, Anna is a backbone of bingo for us. And our volunteers, we had heat of 105 degrees and they were outside running the parking lot. We did about 20,000 steps a day just to service the customers. And we did that twice a week. And remember, all our volunteers are not school bus people. They're just people who like what CASTO does. So they volunteer and they come twice a week. So we went through heat. We spent 3 weekends of smoke where it was so thick smoke, it hurt your lungs by the end of bingo because you're breathing it. Now we're dealing with cold. So Anna, along with Tony, got hold of our volunteers. Most of them are in their 60 to 70 year age where they're running outside. We took them to a restaurant in Roseville a week ago Wednesday to say thank you. Because Roseville is the only one at the time that will allow 50% restaurant occupancy. So we took them to Buco de Beppo. We gave them a very nice thank you. Tony, Barbara Terry, Anna Borges, all of them were there, and I was there, of course. And the day after the dinner, over half of them either called me or tracked me down and said, there has been no other organization that ever thanked us the way you thank us for what we do for you as a charity or a nonprofit, excuse me. One lady who's 71, her name's Linda, says she's worked for American Red Cross. She's worked for the Placer County Food Bank, and she has never been treated as a thank you. So and you guys met some of them at the state conference. Remember, we brought them to the state conference, but we had 34 of them on Wednesday night. So if it wasn't for them, we would not have had the revenue that we have today. So they know how much, and I promised them I would tell the board today that I already told them that you appreciate what they did. But they also know that they want to say thank you for allowing us to take them to dinner is what I'm doing. And that's the end of my bingo report.
Excellent, Daniel. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And please again, extend our thank yous to your staff and volunteers and everybody that makes bingo successful. We really appreciate it.
Tony?
Yes.
Can I say something? Number one, yes, thank you very much, Dano, and all of your staff. But if I lived up there, I'd be dragging Pam and Jill and everybody with me to play bingo.
Yeah, you would be there all the time.
Absolutely.
You would be my bingo caller. It's Pam I couldn't keep here. She could make it 1 hour, and then she's got to go.
But remember, she wins like $1,200 at a time, right?
I know. That's why she wins her money and she runs.
I'm just saying that 3 hours is a long time and it's so stressful. You got the machine and then you got all those bingo things and I can't keep up. It's too fast for me.
And Mikey Sawyer loves to sit there and hit that button.
Pam, you're retired now. That's for your profession. You're a bingo person. That's what you do when you retire. All right, let's move on. We don't need to talk all day on it. But thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you, Dano.
Thank you, Dano.
Wish
All
we
right,
could
next,
join you.
Oh, I know you do. It's all good.
Next, we have webpage, Mike Sawyer.
Hello again, everyone. So I feel like Greg Straw, where I'm telling everybody, make sure you give me information for the webpage. It's exactly what he did at every single one of these meetings, and just want to share I can't. He didn't give me permission. Anyways, if you go to castaways.org and go into upcoming events and chapter events, there's each chapter in a list of events that are going on. At the very least, we should have your chapter officer contact list on there. And I would say that's a very small goal. Let's start with that. Send me your contact list. So that way your people know when they reference the website who to get in touch with for finding TO1 time or anything like that. Out of the 20 chapters on the list, I have about 4 that provides information, which is super sad. So we all sign up for volunteer for doing what we do, and we need to make sure we follow through and provide information to our members, because right now we are not offering in public anything. So at the very least, let's give them some digital stuff, and that's really easy to do. So when I'm here for you guys, if you need help, if you guys want to write it on a napkin and take a picture with your cell phone and send it to me, I'll type it out for you. Just give me the information. If you guys have any updates or suggestions for the website, as always, you could contact me at michael.sawyer@smusd.org. Sorry to be so frank and negative.
Excellent, Mike. We expect nothing else but you treating us like you're our father.
That's only you, Tony.
I know. I love you. I appreciate it. So again, thank you so much for everything that you do, Mike. I mean, as you all know, we're all volunteers, and he does everything he can to make sure that he supports that website, supports you. So yeah, please send as much information as you can so that we can continue to disseminate that information to our membership and to get something during this tough time when people are home and they're not getting much. Wish we could bring bingo to their homes, Dano, but I don't know. Maybe that's something we need to talk about. I don't know if that's something that's being done, but virtual bingo. So we'll see. All right. So next we go to Old Business Managers Forum. As you all know, we did not have a Managers Forum this October. I love Managers Forum just because you get to see a lot of people that you haven't seen in a long time, or at least for a year. And unfortunately, due to social distancing and COVID guidelines, we were not able to do so. But we did have some contractual agreements that we didn't break, and Dano's going to talk a little bit about what we had to do and promise for Managers Forum. Dano? Oh, sure. I'll give you a minute. Or I'm number one. Is that what you're saying? Tony's number one.
Okay. Am I online now?
Yes.
Okay. I actually turned you guys off and I can't see or hear anybody. Okay. Now I can hear you. All right. Here we go. Thank you, Tony. You correctly explained everything to each person. The contract that we have does have a little part in there that says act of God. The state has not recognized the pandemic as an act of God. I know Erin was discussing her contracts and how she's going to have to change them. But the Doubletree Hotel, we had a little part in the Doubletree Hotel that said if the hotel was unable to provide the service, we could get out of it. The little sticky issue was if I or CASTO canceled, we would have to pay 50% of the manager's forum potential income. If the hotel canceled, then we would be off the hook. So it was that waiting game that I was playing. I was not going to cancel because we would have to pay 50% of, I think at the board, what was it, $62,000 for just the meals, and then the lodging, the potential lodging that they would have lost. So we were waiting and waiting, and we took a gamble of not canceling it with the hotel until they canceled it. So we won. We knew they weren't able to produce the hotel or anything that was identified in the contract. So what we did do an agreement with as a courtesy is we did have a 2022 opening for managers forum. So we went ahead and just transferred the managers forum contract that we had for last month to 2022. So it's a good deal. Everything's happy. And that's where we're at. Back to you, Tony.
Excellent. Thank you, Dano. And we were very, very pleased to hear that we did not have to, did you say 50% or 15%?
50.
Wowzers. Yeah, that's that can get really expensive. And we'll be talking about that as we talk about the state conference coming up in March. So thank you, Dano, for everything that you do and for ensuring that we move forward and we don't owe the 50%. Let's talk about new business, section B. And at this point in time, as you all know, it's that time of the year where we open nominations for officers, and Ms. Pam McDonald, you're next.
Thank you. As the immediate past president, I'm in charge of the elections for the following year. And so looking at admin policy elections 2.1.1, the committee is composed of at least 3 non-candidates, chaired by the immediate past president, that's me. So I have asked 3 chapter presidents to assist me, and they have said yes. So Sam Anderson from chapter 1, Doug Smith from chapter 20, and Nanette Rondeau from chapter 6 is my committee. So nominations are open at this time, beginning today. So if you are interested in running for an office or nominate someone, please contact me or one of those 3 people. And you can either call me or send me an email. And if anybody has any questions, I can answer them. If not, we're done. So nominations are open and they'll close in January. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, if you are thinking about, coming into the executive board and taking on a little bit more responsibility, there's just look around. I mean, we've got a great board, very supportive. We're like a family, and we although we're expected to do well and do our job, everybody does it with their heart and mind. And I can't tell you enough of the board that we have right now, and I'm excited to hear who else is going to step up and continue to move CASTO forward, because we have a great group of people that again, both on our executive board as well as our state board. So think about it, and again, shoot an email or call Pam and put your name in that hat, and we'll do everything we can to support you. Thank you, Pam. Next, we have CASTO Awards, Amanda Heitman.
Guys, okay, so I'm here again to tell you that we're asking for you to think and to nominate. We have the 4 awards that we put out every year. That's the Arnina Moon Award, and that's Service Above Self, the Fred Sowash, which is the Leadership Award, Member of the Year, and then either life, honorary life, or honorary member. We need you to you can go onto the website and pull up the application for the nomination and submit that to me. It needs to be to me before February 7th. That's the deadline. We're hoping that we can get somebody, we have some choices, and we can make that decision for each one of those awards. So get those nominations in. Okay, they have to be in by February 7th. Do you want me to just go on with the poster, Tony? Okay.
Yes, please.
So then also the poster contest. Our theme for the poster always comes from NAPT. I went on the NAPT website again this morning, and there's still no new theme out yet. I've contacted Pam. She's contacted her people over at NAPT, and they're looking into it and should get back to us. I will keep looking for that theme because we need those posters in by the January meeting. So as soon as I hear something, or as soon as I figure out what that is, we'll get that out to you guys in an email. We're going to have you, because everything's virtual this year, we're going to have you guys receive your posters at your chapter level. You take a photo of that, picture of that, and then you'll send me the picture. And then in our January meeting, we'll vote on them. Again, as soon as I get the theme, I will get it to you guys. Okay, any questions?
Amanda, I did hear something that NAPT has now allowed the American School Bus Council has taken over the administration of it. So that's why they don't have one up yet. So there's a couple of more people that I have to connect with. So we might just want to do one of our own, but we can send out an email through Castaways when we do that.
Okay, that's exactly what I was also going to suggest, that maybe we should just come up with our own theme if we don't hear anything quickly.
Because it looks like they're making changes at that level too.
Right, because we're already at the end of November, almost to the end of November, and it's not going to get enough time to get it out to the school sites for kids to be able to draw that poster. So we'll be in touch definitely within the next couple of weeks and get that out to you guys in an email. Okay, any other questions or comments?
I think it should be COVID related on the school bus. I mean, the drivers are learning so much about keeping the buses clean and safe. It's just not about driving now. It's about the safety of being on a bus.
Yep, for
well.
sure. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Next, we have the 2021 State Conference. Dano.
All right, I put a picture of parking lot bingo on the background. You guys see it?
I see it. Wow.
That's what it looks like in August. These little people over here, they chose to play outside their car. They're not allowed to leave their little parking stall. They set it up like they were camping. They would have bull horns when they would win. It was kind of nice. It's those are the people that supported us and gave us all that additional income. So it's good.
Hey,
All
Dano, tell them about the costume contest that you had with the players for Halloween.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. The Saturday, the 31st, we had parking lot bingo Halloween contest. I had over 18 contestants that decorated or whatever you do, get in a costume, and we let them strut their stuff. We had music, and they had to go up and down every aisle of the parking lot and dance and try to earn a vote. And the audience voted by sounding their horns, and we had cash prizes, of course, for first, second, and third. Since all the bars were closed in Sacramento, I thought, why not have a Halloween party for adults in the parking lot? And it was nice. And then Scooby-Doo won, which the only reason he won is because he was jumping on cars and lifting his leg on wheels. But they had some really creative stuff. But thank you, Anna. Yeah, we had a good time. Oh, conference.
Yes.
All right, get ready to write this down, everybody. These are dates that I want you to have. For Managers Forum for 2021, which will be October 20th through 22nd, that will be in Sacramento. So Managers Forum, October 20th through 22 would be in Sacramento at the DoubleTree Hotel. Conference for 21, which is actually scheduled for March of 21, which is a few months away. We're playing the same game with the Marriott Hotel. we're not canceling until they cancel. If we cancel, then we're responsible to pay a penalty. If the Delta by Marriott cancels because they're unable to fulfill the contract, then we're okay. So right now our conference is scheduled for March 27th through 29th in Anaheim at the Garden Grove, the Marriott by Delta. And it's a great hotel. You know, that's a family ran hotel. I doubt that they would hold us responsible because they're not even open, but we cannot cancel until they cancel. And they're not doing very well in Orange County right now with the pandemic as well. If for some reason we have to reschedule the Anaheim conference, we'll have to do that in 24 because we already have conferences scheduled through 23. Now, the board did discuss yesterday that we may do a virtual conference in March. That will be a discussion your president and vice president or future president-elect Matt Thomas will discuss with you. It's not my place to do that, but they're planning on maybe still having something in March, utilizing it virtually for the installation of officers and some keynote addresses. Continuing on with these dates, I want you to know in regards to the 22 Managers Forum 2022, that will be held in Anaheim at the Marriott Delta. That will be October 19th through 21. October 19th through 21 of 2022 in Anaheim. Conference for 2022 is in Sacramento, February 11th through 14th. So this is so you could have them on your calendars. So February 11th through 14th of 2022 at the DoubleTree in Sacramento. And in the year 2023, Managers Forum is in Sacramento, October 18th through 20th. Managers Forum 18th through 20th of October of 2023. And your conference is in Burbank at the Marriott in Burbank, February 10th through 13th of 2023. So we got those dates out, and that's where we're at on that one. So the rest of it goes back to you, Tony. Oh, rodeo, all the deposits of rodeo from 2020 is being held at Galt. So we did not ask for a refund for the championship deposit for the use of the parking lot or the Northern. And so they still have that deposit there. And I know they discussed rodeo contracts yesterday, and that's a discussion at a later time, but that's an outdoor event. So it's supposed to be more safer outdoors than it is inside. Okay, there you go, Tony. Back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dano. Great news about being able to push that funding over to this year. So at least we know we're paid for the rodeos. Again, we're going to figure out if we can actually have these events where we're going to do the best that we can to do that, even if we have to socially distance. And we'll be planning that with Doug and his team, and if we can, we'll have something.
Hey, like you guys said yesterday, Pam brought it up. We are so fortunate that we had our conference in February this year, because our other associations, God bless them, CASTO, AXA, all of them could not do that. And we were so fortunate. That's why you saw that Treasury report so solid, because it was so successful in February. No one would have known 2 weeks later, we all would have been stuck at home.
And did we ever have conference in February that you guys remember?
No. And the reason I think maybe I didn't share with you yesterday how we ended up in February. It's because of Jason Hollaback, our sustaining member rep, told me our vendors could concentrate more in February by servicing our industry than March. Because in March, our vendors go from one conference to another conference to another conference, and they can't sell their product to their customers other than at trade shows. They couldn't do customer service at the physical location. So Jason said, why don't you try, if you could get it earlier, we could have a better attendance and more time for our distributors or our vendors to be able to spend time with us instead of rushing to go to the next conference and not follow up on leads. So that's why we did it. But no, we have not had that I'm aware of. And I've been in CASTO either on the chapter board or state board since '84. So I don't remember anything earlier than that.
Awesome.
There's a message on YouTube that says where are the dates and where are the locations again, and everything can be found on the castaways.org website.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel and Mike. Again, if you need that information, you can actually view it on our website. And we will be sending reminders, of course, at any time that we have an event. In regards to the state conference, at this point in time, of course, we are not we're not canceling anything. If we cancel, we got to pay 50%. And the number that Daniel gave me yesterday scared the crap out of me. Although financially, we're not doing bad, but we're not in the business of just paying out money for nothing. So there might be, again, a decision that we make in the January meeting in regards to having a virtual type conference. So, of course, that might require that we bring in a smaller amount of people so that we can socially distance at that specific site. And if it's financially viable, we will do that. If not, more than likely what could happen is that Dana would negotiate to push that commitment to 2024 so that we can actually move on and not lose. But of course, that's only if we're not allowed to have the event due to COVID. So we're going to do everything we can to put it on, but this again, this is a situation where we don't know if people are going to be able to travel. We don't know if people have to quarantine after traveling to that specific location. We don't know what it's going to look like. So stay tuned. We'll stay connected. We'll do everything that we can to put on the event, as long as we can do it safely and it is financially viable.
Tony, do you know?
I had a question on that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
So with that, do you know if our insurance has it changed to where we're covered under? Because with all the COVID, I don't know if there's new restrictions or guidelines that we have to follow to be compliant with insurance when we do rodeo or our workshops or anything like that, or if they say that we could either, if it's in person, if we have to, well, of course we're gonna have to abide by all state and local county or what they require for social distancing and all those aspects on that. But do you know, has the insurance said anything about them not covering us, or if we're not able to, or anything like that?
With a great question. With consortiums, there's a lot more allowability. There's a lot of things that we can do that we can't with an actual insurance company. So one of the things that you have to remember that as an organization, if you're going to put on an event, you must follow state guidelines. You must follow your county guidelines, and only through those guidelines are you going to be able to get an insurance certificate. As you heard from our other management here, some of us are actually transporting kids in every seat, which is against the guidelines, but the county makes it allowable under that plan to transport and educate students in person. So then the insurance consortium basically insures you. So at this point in time, everything's canceled for 2020. If you are going to have something in 2021, you have to make sure that you are following state guidelines and county guidelines in regards to how many people you can have in a room and how many people that you can support during these events. And we will recommend as an association that you try your best to have these events outdoors as much as possible. Indoors is where people are getting sick. So ultimately, we don't want to be the association that gets sued because we're not following state protocols or county protocols and so forth. So at this point in time, we're not canceling 2021 events, but stay tuned. We will find out in January, but you need to make sure that you're planning for next year. And if we have to suspend or push those dates further up, then that's what we'll do. But at this point in time, as far as I understand it, we should not have a problem getting an insurance certificate as long as we're following state and local county guidelines.
Okay, thank you. That was pretty much the question I had. Well, that's what me and Sam were discussing.
Great.
About everything, so.
Excellent. So Mike, you had something?
No, I'm asking Pam in a text. We're good.
Okay. Excellent. Any questions in regards to our state conference? Nope. Well, and it leads up to 2021 chapter workshop rodeos and events that you put on. At this point in time in 2021, plan for everything as if nothing happened. But you also have to plan for COVID-19 protocols. How are you going to facilitate these events? Again, trying your best to comply with social distancing standards, the best to comply with, especially if you're using a school district standards. Are they going to allow you to use those facilities? You need to start having those conversations today, so that if they give you a drop dead date, that you can facilitate that, talk to them, and make sure that they're going to allow you to have those events at their sites. So although you're insured, you might not be allowed by your district policy at that point in time because of the pandemic. So take a look at those things and do your best to do your best under these conditions. So continue to plan, and we'll continue to support you, and then we'll do everything we can to support these events starting January.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions in regards to your chapter workshops or rodeos?
Oh, I have a comment.
Yes.
I know we're supposed to limit people in your home. Same thing as like a workshop if you have one. I know Thanksgiving is going to be different for everybody, but in case you want to know our breaking news in Sacramento right now, Governor Newsom and his wife got caught going to somebody's birthday party that had over 60 people there.
Oh my.
But he told us, don't have no one at your house for Thanksgiving, though. He was at a winery. They got pictures of him a couple nights ago.
So was he wearing a mask?
Yes, but no social distancing. Well, I don't know. The mask was like on his ear. So, yeah, he's going to get a lot of crap for that. So if you do have a workshop, it's at a winery owned by the governor. And in Napa, I think it's acceptable because that's where the birthday party was. I'm sure it's going to be on the news tonight.
Terrible.
I'm being an ass. It's okay.
All right. Thank you, Dano, for the news break. At this point in time, chapter news. Let's go ahead and start with chapter 1.
All right.
I'm sorry, Tony, can I interrupt real quick?
Yes.
When we did the agenda, we had forgotten we were supposed to add number 6. You were going to discuss Zoom.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's go back to.
Hey Tony, do you mind if I, because I'm gonna have to leave real quick. Do you mind if I just go over the dates and all that for our chapter?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, but so for our chapter, we're planning like you said, Tony, with just as it's normal business year. So our workshop was on January 30th, and our rodeo is March 27th. And like we were discussing, we're already looking at state as well as county guidelines and what we can and can't do, and we're just going to go by that and whatever the insurance allows us.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we're going to go ahead and go back to new business, and this will be number 6. And this is a discussion that we had yesterday in regards to Zoom. So as board of directors, again, you give us guidance in regards to what we should do and how we should do things. And as you know, we've been using Zoom.
Tony, you
Yes.
want to make a motion to change the agenda so we can have it on the item?
Okay.
I mean,
so,
motion to add this to the agenda, and then we'll do that real quick, and then you can talk about it.
Got it. So I make a motion to add number 6 to the agenda on new business in regards to the discussion of purchasing Zoom.
Second.
We got a second with Tom.
Matthew.
Matthew Thomas.
Matt Thomas. And do we have any discussion?
Yes. So we brought this up yesterday, and the discussion was maybe as an organization, CASTO, we should look into our own account so we're not using.
Mike.
Wait,
What?
Mike.
Not yet. No, this is just to add the number 6 to the agenda.
All right.
All right. Any discussion about adding number 6 to the agenda? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 All against say no. Motion passes. We got number 6. Now let's go ahead and discuss. Mike.
So as you guys can see, we're using Woodland Hills account because Tony's where he works. So we're talking about how beneficial it could be if CASTO maybe looked into the possibility of having our own account and for offering more virtual options, running our state board meeting a little more efficiently, having our own YouTube account that we can control a little better. And possibly the idea of offering it, to services to our chapters for, virtual meetings. So we just wanted to bring it up as official business and as a topic just to memorialize that's what we're going to be looking into. And we've already contacted Zoom. We're waiting for a salesperson to contact us back.
Excellent. Anybody else on the executive board want to say something about Zoom? No. Okay. So all I got to say is that it is a necessity at this point in time. And it is very difficult to do business without it. We are fortunate enough that we all use resources from school districts to support CASTO, but it makes it difficult to run a live feed on YouTube with my account. So it's Tony that has the account and it's not CASTO. So so it would facilitate our ability to own our own license for Zoom and then have the capability of allowing you to also use Zoom for your live streaming or webinars that you might be doing as a chapter. So that's the idea. And what we want to do is we would like a motion from the floor to at least explore what the cost would be to purchase Zoom. And then at one point in time, maybe having a special board meeting just to approve the purchase of Zoom and move forward with it if it's something that you guys believe is of value.
Tony, I'll make a motion so we don't have to have another meeting to purchase Zoom up to, I'm just going to throw out $3,500. I don't know how much it costs, but I'm going to throw out a motion to purchase Zoom up to $3,500.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second on this motion. Any discussion?
I have something to say, Tony. This is Anna.
Yes, Anna.
I don't think that you should put a limit because you don't know what it is. So until you do some fact finding and search out what it is, and not only that, are you trying to offer this to the chapters as well so they can utilize it, or is this just strictly state board level?
We wanted to know what our options were, Anna.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
We just want to know what our options were, and we definitely we're first and foremost looking at this at the state level.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying that is, like, for us, Mike, we just did the same thing through our office. So our Department of Education has Zoom accounts, but there's too many people. And what happens is it starts to then hinder when you can use it. It's taking up the time frame. So we had to do a separate account with a separate email account from everybody else. So if you're strictly talking about the state board level, Pam, I don't think you'll be anywhere near $3,500, which is not going to be a problem. I think if it's more economical, and that means if a chapter chooses, hey, we would like a Zoom account and we can do our chapter meetings through Zoom, maybe we're going to get more membership, more people participating. And if that's the case, then maybe the membership of each chapter would pay for their own Zoom and whatever the additional cost is from the mother account. So just an idea, just thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't want it to be open-ended. So what happens if all of a sudden it came back at 10 or 15,000? You know what I mean? So,
we bought it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I heard it was roughly yesterday, maybe 2,000 or so. So I just kind of threw a little extra. What I didn't want is to spend CASTO's, have an open-ended, amount.
Absolutely. But I think with doing the research and bringing it back to the board, when you sit there and if you try to say $10,000, that, the board has the ability to say, yeah, that's way outside of our realm to do. But I think to say, let me give you a maximum that you can spend is insinuating that you're going to purchase it prior to talking to the state board of directors.
Well, our next meeting isn't until January unless you call a special meeting. So, and I just thought calling a special meeting to purchase one thing, that was just my thought process.
Yep, that's why I was thinking about the special meeting. I mean, it would be, that would be the only thing on the agenda, is just discuss what it costs. Do we think it's a viable option? And everybody agrees, we vote yes, boom, we buy it. But we need more information at this point in time. So right now, we just need the direction of the board to give us the opportunity to explore what it costs, and then we can come back and have it approved by a majority vote.
Okay, but you don't need approval to explore things.
No. And I'm looking right now, Pam, like a small, medium business is $199 per year for a license, which hosts up to 300 participants. And that's just the first package as you go through and optional add-ons and all this great stuff, audio plan, whatever you want. Cloud
we were
storage.
thinking if we had to use it for conference, it could hold up to 1,000 people or so. So,
yeah, that's
or
true.
more, because when people are at home, they tend to log on a little more than come to a conference.
True. Very true.
All right, so we have a
Happy Friday, everybody.
oh my, excuse me. I have a motion on the floor. Do we want to amend that motion, or we want to keep the way?
I'm keeping it so you can vote it down if you want to vote it down, and then do whatever you want to do.
All right. So at this point in time, we have a motion on the floor identifying that approving the purchase of Zoom up to $3,500. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 All against say no. All right, unanimous decision. Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, at this point in time, we'll go to information exchange, and we have chapter 2.
Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute everybody. Thank you. Again, I'm Jill Bender, Chapter 2 President with Orange Unified. This is my first state board meeting, so it's nice to see all of you and see how this is working. It's something I would have liked to have done in my first introduction, and I should have done, is acknowledge that several of our executive board members are from Chapter 2, and that's something that we're all really proud of. And that would be Pam McDonald, our immediate past president, Matthew Thomas, our first vice president, Christina Celeste, our treasurer, and Angeles Valario, our professional representative. Did I get everybody? So I'm very pleased that we have so many people from Orange County who are so involved in helping keep this great organization together. As far as happenings within the chapter, we have been conducting all of our meetings regularly on Zoom monthly, and we've had the benefit of having Stephanie Oliver from CDE at most of our meetings because we're doing it virtually, where when we do it in person, we can't always have CDE representation. So that's been very beneficial for us as a chapter, and something that we've enjoyed doing.
As far as what the executive board is looking at with Zoom, I personally think that is a fantastic idea. And I know that I speak for my chapter, we would definitely be interested in looking into sharing that expense and sharing that Zoom program, because right now we're utilizing the personal account of my first vice president in order to conduct our meetings. So it would be nice to have something that is more of a business-based environment. That would be great. Matt talked a little bit earlier about the Miss Piggy program that we do here at Chapter 2 every year. And that's something that we are also very proud of and happy to be continuing to facilitate this year. If anybody has any questions, they can direct those toward Matt Thomas about the Miss Piggy program. And I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
Excellent. Chapter 6.
Tony, before you get to 6, Ross on YouTube said he just wanted to say that Chapter 4's workshop will be January 9th, 2021.
Got it. Thank you so much. So January 9th, 2021. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is, they were planning a virtual type workshop. And also Cindy Caceres from Chapter 4 stated they purchased, I believe, Zoom for Chapter 4. So that'll be interesting to see if we purchase it for CASTO, if it gets in the way of it. So we'll chat once we figure out exactly what it's going to cost for the whole association. All right, so Chapter 6. Chapter 6. All right, we'll move on to Chapter 7.
Chapter 7 held a virtual workshop in October. We wanted to limit it to 50 people just so that we could make it manageable. We ended up accepting 55 and all of them showed up. We were able to offer 3 hours of TO1 credit for them and it went very, very well. We gave ourselves a B, but all of the feedback that everybody gave us was definitely in the A range. We're planning our January 23rd workshop. We're looking at up to 4 hours of TO1 credit. With the way things are going in the state, we just found out that Santa Clara County is going backwards next week. So we will be planning to do this virtually for sure. We're still looking at rodeo for either March or April, but it's not looking good at this point. And that's all for Chapter 7.
All right, thank you. Chapter 10.
Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. So in Chapter 10, we've been conducting our meetings. We have a workshop that we are planning for January, late January. We're still in the process of working out all the details on how that will run, as that will be virtual. This will be our first time conducting a virtual meeting. Other than that, we are going to look to partner with one of the surrounding chapters as far as rodeo goes. And that's pretty much all that's happening in Chapter 10 at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. And next we have Chapter 12.
I was trying to unmute my screen instead of the microphone. Chapter 12, we usually have our rodeos in March or in April, which is only right around the corner. So hopefully we can. Our workshops are typically in November, which we cannot have that one this year. So hopefully in 2021, we will be able to have our workshop. Kern County is right now in the red, and they're projecting that, because our numbers keep going up, they're projecting that we could be in the purple by Wednesday, which means things will be shutting down again. Within Chapter 12, we had our first DTAC since the closure on Tuesday, November 10th, and Dano was there with us via Zoom. And the Zoom meeting was allowed more instructors to attend than what we previously have had with in person. So that was a great thing. Kern County Superintendent of Schools started transporting special needs October 19th with an A and B cohort. Mondays and Tuesdays, A cohort, B is Thursday, Friday. Wednesday would allow classrooms and buses to be fogged, deep cleaned before we put the next cohort in there, which was a challenge in the beginning. When we started cohort A, you could only you could not mix any teachers that went to the same school site. So me and my coworker had the same school site with students on that campus. I had my own bus for my students and she had her own bus for her students, which made it very challenging because then we had Kern High School District that started their special needs program on the 28th and they're 5 days a week. So we're doing some juggling around over here. We're getting there, but we're doing it. Then we're still providing student packages to our students. We deliver student homework packets to their homes and then we pick them up once they're completed on Wednesdays of each week. So I think we're busier now than what we typically are here in Kern County. Chapter 12 hopefully can kick off and start with rodeo, but keep our fingers crossed for March, April, so we can have our rodeo then. Other than that, that's where we're at right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jennifer. Chapter 13.
Hello, everybody. Chapter 13's kind of been just dead in the water. In Sonoma County has been in the purple tier since day one, and we have not come into the red or even the other colors. So school, in-person school is non-existent at the moment, and it's unlikely in first semester at all. However, we are doing a handful of students, special needs students that attend school in counties outside of Sonoma. So like Marin, Fairfield, taking an individual student to Fairfield. Normally we have our October conference for the chapter, which is obviously didn't happen due to COVID. And it's a little disappointing because it was a way for a number of our other counties to get to a one-time the limited resources for those other districts that don't have the driver trainers, instructors that we have here in Sonoma. As far as any type of rodeo or anything like that, you know, we're like, again, like we said, we're in purple tiers. So there's a very minimal planning going into that. But it sounds like from what Justin said is that we're going to be partnering with local counties to look how we can move forward in that rodeo world. And as far as, you know, sorry, dogs squeaking back in the background. We use Google for Google Meets, and I don't know if the chapter or the state agencies looked at Google Meets, but our county and our agency have Google accounts. So we're able to utilize Google, and there's no limitation on the number of folks that we can have. So that's just one of the options we use. And other than that, that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Chad. Yeah, we tried to use Google. Unfortunately, if you use Google and you're not from the district, it won't allow you to join in. I mean, it's kind of weird, but yeah, definitely. If we could, we would. Google's a great platform. I like it. Chapter 14.
Okay, so we had our first CASTO DTAC in September, first Zoom, and we actually had 19 members show up. And then we just had our November meeting on the 10th, and we had 14 show up. And so for our January meeting, because we are Kings, Tulare, and Inyo counties, and we've never seen Inyo, we're going to invite them to Zoom with us and see if we can get them involved a little bit and you know, reach out to them. And we have a tentative rodeo scheduled for February 20th of 2021, and our workshop tentatively is scheduled for April 17th. We opened nominations at our November 10th meeting. We actually did our installation on October 30th. A bunch of us went out of town and did it up there, along with a bunch of people from our office. And so we went and spent the night in Mariposa and did it up there. So we're installed now. We're opening nominations because we had to postpone them back in March when we were going to originally do them. But we have found out the Zoom meetings, we do have a lot more participation. A lot more people are not just directors, but other people, instructors and drivers are able to attend. And so we're moving right along. We actually here in Visalia are opening, bringing our kids back on the waiver on November 30th for TK to second, and then the 3rd through 6th are coming back on December 7th with our high school, middle school returning January 11th. And like I said before, we've been in the purple, so nothing's going backwards for us. We can't go any further backwards. And our drivers have actually been working doing custodial. We've got 10 of them that have helped out with custodial all summer, food prep, delivering meals, and library books. So they've all been back at work, and when they're not doing that, they're cleaning buses. And we just purchased Zonar, so we've been doing a lot of training. And we've had 3 in-person original classes and 2 renewal classes, and just spaced them and limited the amount of people, and they've all been pretty successful. So we haven't tried the Zoom classes yet.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vicki. Next is chapter 18. Chapter 18. All right, no chapter 18. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. Chapter 20.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, chapter 20 hasn't done much of anything recently either, so we're getting ready to get things started again. Life, as we know it, has been just out there in the middle of left field. So we'll get things happening, and our rodeo will probably be in April.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at that time. It is 1:54. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Our next board meeting is in January, and it is posted, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, should be posted on the website. Please make sure that you put it on your calendar. I will send you an invitation, and hope to see you soon. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. I know that Thanksgiving's coming and Christmas is coming, and I cannot ask you not to spend time with your family, but when you do, think of them, think of yourself, think of your community, and try your best to stay safe. At this point in time, I would like a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, chapter 12.
Chapter 12 makes a motion. A second?
Second.
All right. Matt is second. Any discussion? Didn't think so. All in favor say aye.
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 All against say no. Thank you very much. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you very soon. Stay safe.
I love that picture, Dano.
Yeah, it's a great picture, Tony. And Dano.
Oh, that's not real money.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.